yo, I've eaten no food. I'm dying. Help. So my girlfriend Aitana, my fiance Aitana, just said to me that she saw a clip of mine that she didn't like. And what ran through my mind was every potential clip that she could be talking about. I'm like, oh no, not that clip. Oh no, not that one. What could she possibly have seen? And she's like, I saw that clip of you trying to twerk in Miami. I was like, oh, thank fuck. I'm like, that's a funny clip. She's like, yeah, but like, you're terrible at it. I'm like, yeah, but that's what makes the clip funny. Really dodged a bullet there, chat, because I've said and done a lot of stupid shit. Did she like it? No, that's the point. She didn't like it. I guess it's from the Reddit recap.
Hello there, Matto. Do you like Spyro the Dragon? And also, can you twerk again?
No. Well, to the first question, yes. To the second question, no. So there was a bunch of stuff that almost made it in the video.
The video about the Mile High Club being unfinished.
On the wiki, there was this business called Skyver. This page used to be like entirely wrong. This is still technically wrong. It said, before this said definitively that Skyver was responsible for the Union Depository Metro Tunnel and other projects. And I was like, there is no evidence in the entire game that's true. There is no mention of Skyver anywhere. The only thing that has Skyver on it is these 3 vehicles. That's it. It just has like the logo. This is the only Skyver thing in the game. It's speculated it's related to cut content, like it's they're like eventually going to be involved like as a third company or something. But long story short, I was trying to tie Devin Weston to the Metro Tunnel, and so I went on here and I'm like, oh sick! It's saying that Skyver is responsible for the Metro Tunnel, and Skyver is owned by Devin Weston. This wasn't here before actually. Like so I talked to the wiki people and got them to update some of this. This is only the second time I've done this. I found other small errors in the wiki over the time, but this I was just like, this is just not good. Because it says directly on his website that he is responsible, he owns it. And so I'm like, oh, sick. So Skyver, it works in the Metro Tunnel, and Devin Weston owns them. Case closed. But I looked in every inch of the Metro, everything surrounding it. I never saw a single Skyver vehicle. I never saw a single Skyver logo. It seems as though what happened was a person must have seen one of these vehicles somewhere near the Metro and said, oh, I guess Skyver's involved. Because there's no other construction logos in the entire Metro in Los Santos. For some reason, there's just none. There's tons of construction workers, tons of construction equipment, but no logos, 0. And so I assume this person was like, oh, this is the only logo that I can see. But at least in the current version of the game, these aren't at the Metro. And it's like, oh shit, well, I guess I can't connect Skyver, Devin Weston to the Metro then. But, I just happened to see on the planning board for the big score that there's an STD logo, like STD construction, next to the drill that would be used in the Metro. I'm like, oh, there you go, there's the connection. Devin works with STD is working on the Metro. And I was like, how intentional was that? Because I said there's no logos in the entire construction except on Lester's planning board. So I had to remove the references to Skyver from my video. They were a late addition, so removing it wasn't bad, but
I really like that you'll actually go back and make edits to videos even if you've been working on them for a while. If you spot an error, feels like I see it all the time that YouTubers will say something wrong and just edit themselves talking over it or putting some text saying actually this is wrong, sorry, rather than re-editing to fix it.
Yeah, I care about getting things correct. In fact, I removed, at the very last moment actually, I ended up having to use the YouTube editor. There was, in my files of the dialogue, it says the architect is FIB Architect, FIB Construction, FIB Construction 2. I was like, oh shit, in the games files, these guys are references FIB. Well, that could be relevant because Devin is involved with the FIB and that's another way Devin could be connected to this. And so I put that in last minute, right? I rendered it. And Will says to me, I don't think that's actually true, Matt. I think what's happened is the person who made this list wanted to remind themselves who's speaking and make it easy to search, so they put FIB Architect. And the actual characters don't have that. And I was like, oh no, because it's called FIB Architect because in the construction, the architect plans, we're going to get the plans for the FIB building because we're going to break in there in the bureau raid. So that's why they call it FIB Architect, not because they work for the FIB. Although that does mean that the architect did at one point work for the FIB, but they just done that one job. There was a comment on the first release to the members where a member was like, I heard that The reason why it wasn't being finished is because Devin Weston owned a bunch of shares in the Mile High Club, and when he died, it threw everything into disarray. And I'm like, where'd you hear that? What proof is there of that? Because we've been through every bit of dialogue in the game. We can search literally all the dialogue in the game for any reference to anything, and there's no reference to that anywhere in the entire game. No logos, no nothing. It's like, I don't know, just heard of some video, I suppose. And it just sucks that there's so many channels that just make up shit, right? As I showed in the video, like, it's really tempting to tie Devin Weston to the Mile High Club, and you kind of can, but it's not direct at all. There's nothing directly saying that he owned it. It's just that so much his MO, and he works with STD, but also STD seem to be doing this stuff themselves. I think they plan to finish it with the contact DLCs, but shifted their focus to just the agency. I did not want to make a video, like many other people have, talking about the Rockstar reasons why they wouldn't want to change it. Because there's two big reasons. One, which is breaking the missions. I think that is the most big mission, most concern. The second is that the skyline of Los Santos would just be boring. A building under construction that large is just a good place to do missions, and it just looks cool. Like, it would legit just be another skyscraper. The reason why I didn't cite that is because, again, I didn't want to spend too much time on it. And also, like, I wanted to give the reason why I don't think they'd finish it even at the very end of the game. Like online is done. Like, they're closing it. Like, they could do it like in the last DLC or something. I still don't think they would do it because it's just gonna break all the missions.
Breaking missions makes no sense, considering you can do missions out of order like any job after the Doomsday heist.
But there's free roam missions and stuff and gang stuff in it. Like, they have multiple times removed missions from the game. Tons of them. It's just that building has been so involved in huge aspects of the game. Again, maybe I should have mentioned that it's just an interesting building. I don't know, but like, again, it wasn't the main focus of the video and I didn't want to spend too much time on it.
Have you ever been to Romania?
I've been to Romania, no. Maybe one day. Aitana has bullied me to some degree, and now I'm going to South Africa. I know there are nice places in Africa, but I was talking to some guy from South Africa at a party. He's like, oh yeah, you know, like 2 or 3 hours a day, they just turn off the power to save power. And I was like, whipped. I just wouldn't go if I really didn't want to go, but why it's saying what happened. Like, okay, so I have this thing, right? My life is so good, and in every respect, everything I want is going well for me. And because of that, I worry about even small chances that something might go wrong and I'll get injured or die or something. Lots of places in South Africa are not safe. As long as you know where not to go, it should be fine. That is the case in a lot of countries. Even some of these countries that don't necessarily sit at like the top 20 most prosperous countries on the planet, right? They usually have places that are more touristy, that are usually quite safe and do well, specifically because people want the touristy dollars, right? As a Brit, London's tourist hotspot, I wouldn't consider it safe from threats. Well, no place is safe from threats. Why would you mention London specifically? The UK doesn't have a high crime rate. London crime or murder is at like an all-time record low. That's what I've seen. I'm trying to find stats for it. Most crime has fallen by 90% in 30 years, so why does the public think it's increased? I mean, this is going to be per capita though, right? Because interesting, as population increases, the per capita rate can be lower, but the amount of instances individually that like the media can report on can increase because the population increases. Having a girlfriend that's not a gamer is a red flag to me. I would love a girl who was a gamer. I remember thinking, it's weird that some guys are hostile to girls in gaming and stuff, considering that like that seems like what most people would want, right? And how are you gonna find yourself a gamer girlfriend if you scare off all the gamer girls? Honestly though, what I ultimately wanted in a partner, which I have, is a person who's different from myself, who will get me to do things that I wouldn't otherwise do. Bring me out of my comfort zone to experience and enjoy things. You guys remember that story I told you about my it like encapsulates my entire young life. I was at Homebush, Sydney Olympic Park, where there's like swimming pools and stuff, Olympic pools, indoor rapid kind of things, and slides and stuff. And as a little kid, I wouldn't go on the slide that was there. Looking at it now, like it's a small slide, but I was like, no, I'm too scared. Mother was always like, you'll enjoy the slide if you go on it, just go on it. I'm like, no. And she's like, I'll give you $20 and any chocolate you want if you go on the slide. And I still said no. That's how much I didn't want to do it. But then the next time, like this is a while later, I finally went on the slide. And I was like, this slide's awesome. I want to do this again and again and again. And I said to my mother, can I have that $20 and the chocolate? And she's like, I was never going to give you money and a chocolate. I just knew you'd enjoy the slide. And that's kind of how, growing up, I realized that being inhibited and not not just trying stuff and or whatever really limited me in my early life. And, since 25 at least, I just do anything anyone asks of me. I'm like, yep, I'll be there. Don't worry about it. I say to myself, like, if there was a significant possibility of me being harmed, then this place wouldn't be in business. So I have construction happening here for the last 2 days, and it's now done, and the solar panels are done. My solar panel battery, right, is huge. It's like monstrous. Can I show you a picture without leaking my very sensitive location? IKEA solar panels are cool, they are. It's a good thing I got it now before the knock-on effects of the stuff going on with the Strait of Hormuz, or before those knock-on effects come along and make everything more expensive. It's kind of already happening, but so this is it. Look how big that thing is. I think each one of these is a segment of battery. And I was like, oh, sick. Because this house takes a lot of power. It's like big. Yeah, because my power bill here was nonsense. So it's not going to be long before the solar panels pay for themselves. Hugely expensive system, but because my power bill is so expensive, it's gonna be, well, still a couple of years, but still. Not taking a long time. How's the house? Okay, to start off with, amazing. It's super cool. I love living in this house. It's amazing. I love every aspect of it. That being said, when you get a house, you notice all the small things that builders did to cut corners or to save like a little bit of money that if a person was building a house for themselves, they wouldn't have saved money in that area, right? Because the builders are like, yeah, no one's gonna like not buy the house if we don't spend $1,000 on this. So let's just save $1,000, right? Not that it's the builders who own the place or whatever. Well, sometimes it is, but rarely it is. But you know what I'm saying? The designer, the owners, who plan to sell it. Getting all the blinds up here has been a huge pain because they didn't put all the blinds. The doors have this annoying thing, at least a lot of them, like this one doesn't seem to, but a lot of them, you close the door, but it doesn't fully close. It doesn't like latch in. So you can hear it going like, and like with a gust of wind, it will go, whoa. So you got to like close it and then like push it. And it's weird. Do they have homeowners association in Australia? I think so, but not in the same way. Not to the same degree. I'm curious, I'm gonna ask AI on. Like, I know you can, if you buy houses in like an estate and stuff, maybe. Yeah, so yeah, there was something similar. Strata, yeah, that's what I had before. What they do, maintain common property, enforced by laws, noise, correct strata levies, ensure the building. Like, oh yeah, this as well. This is what I was talking about. When you build like in a gated community, an estate, rare but closer to homeowner association, yeah. But I've never heard of anything even similar to what I've heard of how bad homeowners associations are in America. Like they can dictate what you can do on your property in terms of like design and stuff. You did have that thing with the garbage bin size or something? Oh, that's because councils offer a certain size of garbage bins and stuff. I'm assuming people not in Strata would just have the local council do it? Yeah. Like different local councils have some rules, but it's usually stuff you can understand, like, because you can complain if your neighbors are too noisy and stuff. Or that if you build something that impedes your neighbor or whatever, you can complain to the council. Like how you build a tree or you grow a tree that has its roots go under the fence and destroy someone's tiles or something like that's,
America's HOAs are literal tyranny. Like, why? It's your house. Tell them to do one.
Yeah, it just seems crazy to me. So yesterday, guys, felt like shit. It was like the first day in a long time where I stopped working at like 3. I sat in bed, bundled myself up, and I sat there and I watched Record of Ragnarok, I think it's called. That fighting anime on currently on Netflix. It's like, I paid money to get access to the Chainsaw Man anime, and it also was meh. I saw a thing where it was like, it's the greatest thing ever. Okay, so here's the thing about anime movies, guys, and how they're rated, especially on like Letterboxd and stuff. When a movie comes out, a normal movie, a wide variety of people can watch that movie and so can rate it differently, right? But anime movies, only anime fans watch. And if it's a movie about a particular series, only fans of that series, already existing fans of that series, watch that movie, at least the vast majority. So there is a huge selection bias in who watches anime movies, and it favors people who really like that franchise already. So anime movies tend to get rated a lot higher than more traditional movies. And so the reason why the Chainsaw Man movie on rating sites is rated so highly is because of that phenomenon, not because it's necessarily the best movie of all goddamn time. At least that's in my opinion, having watched the first hour of the movie. You know what I saw yesterday? I saw Project Hail Mary, that new movie with that guy in it, you know, where he's got like a little rock monster or whatever. The movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes. Ryan Gosling, yeah. And filtered towards the end. Definitely a good movie though. Like watching it, I'm like, I can understand why this movie did well. The one thing though is like suspending disbelief to a degree was tough sometimes. Because like if you've seen like Interstellar, stuff that in that movie that the main characters had to calculate for hours and to figure out how to do in space, which is like a monstrous task. They do that in this movie in space like that. Like they're just doing stuff like it's just every day. And their ability to communicate, it's just like they're communicating so well. It's like a rock monster and Ryan Gosling's character are just having conversations about abstract concepts. I'm like, could you really bridge the language and cultural divide with a rock monster to have these philosophical conversations? Like, so suspending disbelief there was a bit tough sometimes, but it was still good. Like it was a good movie. Have you thought about reading the book, the Project Hail Mary? Nah. I mean, I don't have time for books these days. Sucks. Like I used to read like a book every 2 weeks, guys, back before the internet. In the old days, well, the internet existed, but like not on your phone as well. Have you watched my Watchdogs 2 video? It was incredibly interesting to see someone hating it that much when most of the community loves it so much. What was the aspect you hated the most? I don't think that's true. I think people were very split on Watch Dogs 2 when it first came out, but in hindsight, it looks a lot better because of Watch Dogs 3. For me, it was just, I didn't find all the hacking gadgets satisfying and enjoyable. And the story with the over-the-top characters, like, because I was so used to Watch Dogs 1 and the more grounded, serious, gritty stuff, it was off-putting to me, I think. These days, though, especially because I just have a different attitude towards things, if I went back and played it, I'm sure I'd enjoy it a lot more, you know?
Watch Dogs 2 is better than Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah, so Watch Dogs 2 is better than Watch Dogs Legion. Like when Watch Dogs Legion came out, I was like, well, maybe we're a bit harsh on Watch Dogs 2. No, some people loved it, yes, and some people hated it because it's just a polarizing kind of game. The channel isn't doing particularly amazing right now, but it's not unexpected. For some reason, every year around the start of the year, my channel struggles a bit. But it's also compounding because I went away, which makes things a little bit different as well.
You don't have to worry, Matt. We will be here always and support you as we can.
No worries, man. You know, I'm doing great. Like you don't have to worry. It's just the part of the reason why I get a little fire lit under me, and I need to do a lot more. Okay, that's not true. Like I work to the maximum degree I can at all times. Like I'm just that kind of guy. There's like nothing to worry about. Like I'll show you. Yeah. So this is my main channel views. So we're down here. March isn't over yet, so it's gonna be a little bit higher. But like it's I always have like 1 month here, just to, you know. It's just weird to think that like for the past 5-6 years, so like it's January 2020, which is kind of when things started taking off. Like I'm still sticking around this line of 10 mil, and that's kind of where I want to sit. I just want to average roughly 10 mil, and I've been doing it. COVID being just the exception bump. It's less that I'm concerned. It's just like, you know. So it's one of those things where it can be a part of a trend where everything is fine, but you always got to be watching these things. So in case something actually goes wrong or it goes worse than normal, you can know that you need to do stuff, right? I like to know how things are going. One thing I'm concerned about though is I do a lot less kind of personal, just chilling stuff these days. Like I don't just sit here and talk to people. And part of that reason is because people complain at least a small amount when I do this. Like they just get to the chaos. But I'm a lot less personable than I was before, you know? My response to the Ink Slashers response video.
Story summary: Ink Slasher was accused by smaller creator Even Bad Wolves Gaming / Elizabeth McCauley of using her Dying Light story breakdown as the visual foundation for his own video, allegedly reusing large portions of her footage, screen recordings, editing choices, and even visible watermarks while replacing the narration with his own. After she filed a copyright claim, he countered it, forcing her to either drop the issue or take legal action, which she did in Australia. Ink Slasher later admitted he used some of her gameplay without permission or credit but argued it was limited and that he tried to resolve it, while Even Bad Wolves claimed the copying was far more extensive, around 71% of his video, making the dispute a major example of a large creator allegedly taking a smaller creator's work and escalating the matter into a legal fight.
Someone left a comment where they were like, well, they kind of summarized it, where he says that he tried to compensate her. I don't care about that. Stealing a person's footage and then going, hey, yo, I will give you money. Doesn't matter to me. What was the other thing that person said? You don't own the gameplay you record? Yeah, you do. You absolutely own the gameplay that you record. In some cases, people will take snippets of other people's gameplay, just really for the hell of it. But usually that's in case of making videos about different topics. I know, like I'm making a separate video specifically about Ron, and I'm too lazy to get a particular cutscene. I take like a 2-second cutscene from one of the other cutscene movies on YouTube or whatever. That's not me making my own cutscene movie from other person's footage. The video is for the same topic, which makes the stealing of any footage completely ludicrous. More than this though, when I talked about it publicly, a bunch of comments, people from I Know said, yeah, Ink Slasher stole my video too. And that was a main point from this gaming person, that she believes that this is a common thing for Ink Slasher to take other people's videos, making it understandable why you wouldn't take the money. It's like, you know, you find someone doing something continuously wrong all the time, and you're offered a pay package to shut the fuck up. Obviously, you won't accept that. Him offering money is like holding footage ransom. No, it's more like the idea of you can either ask for permission or you can ask for forgiveness once you're caught. And in this world, as people have identified, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. I think that's just a shitty way that the world works. Large creators shouldn't feel like they can just push around small creators all fucking day and use them as an all-you-can-eat buffet, and the few small creators that stand up for themselves are the ones that you pay off. I don't like that. It sucks.
Are you going to actually sue him?
Am I going to sue him? I'm not involved. No, I'm not involved any more than I am. I'm already involved more than I want to. But I hope she continues the lawsuit. Is it legal to upload a gameplay video that contains GTA 5 radio music? Yeah, I guess. I guess it depends on the country or whatever, right? Because Rockstar allows you to do that. It's a part of the TOS, so it's on Rockstar's end, it's legal. But there are limits to how that music can be redistributed as a part of Rockstar's license. Because Rockstar doesn't own those songs in the same way that they own the game. So they've licensed them for the game, but they haven't licensed them for distribution on YouTube. Yeah, so I guess technically that might, well, it's a violation of copyright, right? Surely. Because you would normally have to license that. But again, these laws differ all over the world. It's dev violation, they don't care. Same as playing random game on YouTube is violation if the devs decide it is. Yeah, but generally games these days have things in their TOS that expressly outline how they allow people to record and showcase their gameplay. I mean, technically, there are probably some uses of gameplay that even if the devs don't allow it, that would be okay under fair use. It just depends, right? As in, like, imagine the devs are like adamantly, we do not want anyone recording our game. And you, as a part of a news report, talked about the lighting in a particular mission. I can't imagine that wouldn't pass fair use, for example, right? Because you're not replacing the game and or the market for the game, or competing with it in any capacity. You're merely showing something from the game for the purposes of talking about it and explaining something about it. But this would be very different from, say, an entire playthrough of the game. Because as much as there's still value in a game after you put out a playthrough on YouTube, you've probably experienced this yourself. You're like, oh, I might go buy this game. Actually, I'll just watch a playthrough on YouTube instead. The overlap between a unedited playthrough on YouTube and the game itself is not one-to-one, but there is definitely an overlap there. They do compete in some respects. And it's going to depend on the game, the nature of the game, as to whether this unedited playthrough draws more people away from the game than sends them on. But this kind of stuff doesn't apply for things like, League of Legends, for example. Games where seeing the gameplay in no way, shape, or form lessens the value of the playthrough. It's more story-based games that where this kind of applies, I think. But I'd say that a lot of this stuff I don't think has been like hammered out in the law. There hasn't been in LORE, it sounds like law. And again, it depends on the country. Some of this would just be adamantly illegal, and there are no fair use kind of laws. I mean, once upon a time, it was considered that if you're like making money off something, then your ability to pass fair use is effectively zero. But kind of wiggle room kind of got interpreted into that. But again, I don't care about much of this at all. I don't think what is moral is dictated by the law, and no one else does either, even though we act this way. Perhaps just for expediency, because when two people don't agree as to the nature of what should be done, you can look at the law and say this is what is allowed explicitly. What annoys me though when we speak about moral issues is some people don't even bother to try to make the case that what you're advocating for will be best for everyone. The idea of what should be allowed or permissible in society is specifically, exclusively what is beneficial to them, and exclusively them, regardless of the consequences to anyone else. And there's no argument you can make in that respect. Just say everyone else can go fuck themselves, and I will get everything. Like when you hear me talk about how I think other people's footage should be usable without permission, with licensing, with compensation and stuff, I will specifically attempt to explain how I think my views encapsulate the best possible reality for all stakeholders, or at least as many stakeholders as possible. Viewers, creators, and so on. Hi! Getting to the end of a Viper Rambles episode proves that you like me and my work far more than the average person. Given that, it's possible that you might find value in becoming a YouTube member. Members get early access to all my videos, including Rambles, as well as access to my growing library of re-uploaded deleted videos, 5% off my merch, and the ability to leave comments and feedback before public release, which is incredibly helpful for me and my team. You also get a cute badge next to your name, so I can easily identify you in my comment section and live stream chats, and you can also use all my cute emotes everywhere on the channel. Lastly, after 3 months of being a member, you can submit on my Discord to join my GTA Online crew. Thanks for the consideration, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you enjoy future ones as well.